In the last section, we took a look at the next app that we're going to be building. Let's continue now by discussing what some of the big challenges of this app are. So we're going to try to break down what the challenges are and what we're going to really be focusing on as we work on this application. So there's definitely a hefty number of little challenges in here. Again, a lot of hidden complexity going on. So we're going to go kind of from left to right. Okay, kind of from left to right. So first off, we're going to start with the login form over here. Now, yes, we've already made a login form previously, but that was a standalone React component that had no basis of touching Redux whatsoever. Like, it really didn't have any concept of Redux. So we need to ask ourselves, do we have to make changes to the login form to suit how Redux works? I don't know, maybe. We'll decide if we have to modify our login form at all to make it Redux friendly, or if we can just leave it as is. So that's definitely a key concern. Next, our application has several different screens, right? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to count this modal screen over here, this kind of pop up as a separate screen. So definitely different screens. How do we navigate between them? Again, that's like the big focus of this application. We're going to spend a lot of time to figure out how we're going to navigate around the application. Third, looking at the header here where it says employees, it looks like over time we've got like a header that says login, a header that says employees, and then a header that says just like singular employee over here. So the header certainly is changing over time depending on what screen we're looking at. Now, yeah, that's probably not too bad, right? We can probably easily use that header text prop on the header that we had made previously to change the content in there. But well, I want you to notice one thing in particular. Notice in the third panel, we're also showing a back button in here, which presumably should take someone from looking at an individual employee back to like the list of employees, right? Like go back a screen, show me all the list of employees over here. So clearly some further customization of the header is required. Now, believe it or not, managing that header right there in a React Native app is a little bit harder than you'd think. So we're gonna have to spend a little bit more time to walk through the challenges there. Fourth, and this is definitely another big challenge of this application, each user who installs our application should have their own private list of employees, right? Like if I'm running a Subway franchise and I've got my 5 employees, I don't want the guy who's running Burger King across the street to also log in the app and see my list of employees. And so we need to spend some time of figuring out however we're going to persist this data, however we're going to save these employees. We need to make sure that we've got a airtight layer of security in there. We need to make sure that users of this application, like different users, can't see each other's employees and can't modify them in any way. So in short, we need to store this list of employees somewhere and make sure that we have really airtight, solid security around it. All right, just two more, bear with me. So fifth, we need to interface with our phone's device somehow to be able to send a text message. Okay, so like again, one of the big features of this is that after a employee gets a shift set, and we're just kind of imagining they're going to work a singular day here, we need to be able to interface with the phone to be able to send a text message out. Now, this is going to be a little bit easier than you might think. It's really going to be not that bad. It's definitely one of those things where you kind of see how it's done once and you say, oh, well, okay, sure, that's how you'd send a text message. So it won't be that challenging, but we do have to figure it out. Now, finally, last one over here. We need a kind of a big full screen overlay, like a modal, a pop-up, something to prompt a user and ask them to confirm some big change or something like that. Now, our iOS and Android devices have some default confirm messages that we could use. Those like messages where it's like on iOS, certainly, like whenever there's a new operating system update, it says like, hey, do you want to update this thing? You update your version of iOS. You always see that inside of the default modal. I think that we can do better than that. I think that we could probably figure out how to style a very nice looking modal and not rely on the system default one. Whenever you've got the system default one, it kind of pulls a user out of the experience of your application. And so I think there's a lot of value to be able to customize how this pop-up is going to look and really have it suit your application. Okay, so that's it. That's the big challenges of our app. I really like laying out these, what we're going to focus on here, because essentially we're going to spend a lot of time to focus on each and every one of these different challenges in here. And again, I think that you're really going to enjoy this application. I had a Very pleasurable time putting it together. A lot of interesting lessons throughout here. Anyways, enough hedging around. Let's get started in the next section.